It is time for a brand new season. For the first time since the middle of March, we are here with the United Sim Racing Association, only this time it is their truck series that takes center stage. The TNT Truck Series, presented by the United Sim Racing Association, opens up their season here at the Daytona International Speedway, something they did not do at all last year, a super speedway. There's two on the schedule this season. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. And alongside me tonight is my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. And Tony, you missed the second half of last year. It was a really, really good race, really, really good season all the way through. Randy Bechtel will show you the standings from last season in just a minute, but Randy Bechtel able to take the championship, looking to do it again here in Season 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the trucks are probably one of the most competitive series in the entirety of the iRacing server as far as pavement vehicles go. So he's going to have an uphill battle, especially starting at one of the wildcard tracks, one of the two wildcard tracks we're going to see this season, that being the two plate tracks, Daytona and Talladega. This is one of those races that as long as you keep your wits about you, you've got a shot at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be a full-length truck race here for the start of this season, a full 100 laps here at Daytona, which is very akin to what you would see the actual trucks do in real life. But first, let's take a quick look at the standings from last season and how the season ended out. Randy Bechtel winning the championship by 40 points over Troy Torgerson. Jeff Pogo was in the mix after a great late season charge, fell a little short. Evan Pienta, who had a great start to the season, sort of fell off at the second half. Stephen Holmes did as well, finishing in the top five. So a great run in the Cup cars for the championship last year. This year, though, as we said before, a completely different ball game in the trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the handling package between the trucks, the Xfinity cars, and the Cup cars. Three vast. You would think that they would be more similar than they are. Just the handling package, because you've got all of that area leading to the rear spoiler on the trucks, they drive so differently. And just on a side note, I'm glad that iRacing finally has given us the third manufacturer in the series. And, it's definitely going to lead to some very close side-by-side racing all season long.
Yep, absolutely. We have a minute and a half left before we get the first qualifying session of the season underway, and it is going to be an incredible season. If you missed these guys last year, a lot of great, close green flag racing all throughout last season. This is going to be an absolutely incredible ride. I'm excited for every series that we do and every single season that we broadcast, but this one, because of the racing that we saw last year, this one I think is a little bit more up there for me as far as I'm excited for this. And we have a full 36 truck field here tonight that's going to be taking the green in the season opener.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking with the league owner before we went live. 36 paid entries into this league. So, there's some scratch in this game. These guys have put up their own hard-earned money in the real world to come out and play with the rest of the boys. And, that's usually when you see the competition level start to really amp up, is when there's money on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And 43 paid drivers in total. Now, there is a rule where we have the 43, but if you do not show up for 3 consecutive weeks, then you're considered out of the league. A lot of rule changes as well from this season to last, including one that we're going to see at the beginning of this season that we're going to see in just a moment here as we get set to go into the qualifying session. You are not allowed in this series to go 3 wide on the first lap at a super speedway, and that is obviously because of safety. And these guys do not have the fallback of a fast repair, so you want to keep as many trucks in for as long as you possibly can. That is one way they've decided to mitigate that as the qualifying session has begun.
And getting back to the whole no fast repair thing, I really enjoy when leagues put that out there, because it gets into the driver's head that if you have a fast repair, it's like, okay, I got a mulligan. I can wad my truck, get a new one, and hopefully get my laps back, as we saw multiple times last night in the Sim Racers Edge IndyCar series. But when you don't have that fast repair in your pocket, it changes how you drive the vehicle, especially in the heavy traffic that we're going to see at the plate track tonight. Um, it's not uncommon to see these guys going 3 wide, 12 deep, but when you don't have a fast repair, it really changes your mindset to not be stupid. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. As we see Chris Smith in the 81 about to start his first of 2 qualifying laps here to open up this season. Chris Smith, I believe, is one of the newer drivers. There's a lot of new drivers. We have a lot of returning drivers. Of course, the major players from last season, all returning drivers that were here the entirety of last season are also here, but a lot of new faces to fill out the 43-car field, 36 tonight, 43 overall. And I am so excited for this season and for this series with the amount of racing, a great racing that we saw last season. This series deserved to be having more than 20 drivers show up, and they have a full field here tonight. Granted, it is Daytona, it is the season opener, but still, this series right now is getting the numbers it deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. And Daytona really, as we've seen in the past, it brings out the drivers because everybody wants to say, I won Daytona.
And one of the top guys from last season, Thomas Ogle, in the 23 right now has the slowest time of the drivers that have completed laps. There is the pole sitter right now. That is the 26 of Scott Thompson. Eddie Spurl in the 73 right now sitting in the second position. One guy we saw a couple of times last year, Matthew McMeekin. He was in the 14 last season, now in the 41. Currently 4th fastest on time, and he will be one of the first to complete his second lap. Thomas Ogle, done with his second lap, goes up to 3rd, immediately replaced by Wesley Whitfield in the 3rd position, and McMeekin will hold station now in the 6th spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, what you're going to see is everybody on their first lap is probably going to run right up around those hash marks, about a car width off the safer barrier. Their second run, they're going to throw it down right near that yellow line and try to keep it pinned there for the entirety of the second lap. Because with the restrictor plate situation, or what used to be called a restrictor plate, now it's a spacer, whatever you want to refer to it as, something to choke the horsepower. You really have to get the rubber band wound tight. And the only way to do that is to make your first lap as long and painful as you possibly can, to try to get as much momentum up as you can, and then let it eat on the second lap.
Almost done is Larry Poling, about to come across the line here with 50 seconds to go, and Poling will go from 21st up, actually down into the 22nd position as somebody had set a time that eclipsed his. Luke Lafaro right now in the 20. The slowest of the drivers that have taken time. Robert Dudley has a chance at getting his second lap in, but right now it appears as though Luke Lafaro will be the last one to get that second qualifying time in. He currently sits in 26th.
And just to give you an idea of how big the draft is here, I'm looking at the times that these guys were putting up in practice. It's a 5-second gap from what they were able to do in traffic compared to what these guys were just able to do solo qualifying. So, I mean, that's huge at a place, 2.5 miles around. They were doing sub 49 second laps. Everybody went sub 49 in the practice session, And in qualifying, nobody went sub 52.
And we will be seeing those times going back up as we get this field on the grid here, set to start tonight's race as we go to the grid for the season opening round here at Daytona. Luke Lafaro will take the pole with that time. Actually completely missed that he had taken the pole there at a 52.273. So a great time for him, setting that with 3 seconds left in the session. And Scott Tompkins will sit in row number 1 right beside him. Brandon Ayers and Eddie Sperul, I believe, will go with that. If he finishes in the top 3, we'll ask him. It's a bad job on our part. Honestly, we should have done that before. Jordan Smith and Eric Holly make up row number 3. Jeff Pogo and Evan Pienta will sit in row number 4. Row 5 goes to Johnny Rapp and Stephen Holmes. Wesley Whitfield and Chris Smith will make up row number 6, while row 7 goes to Daniel Dill and Shane Ward. Row 8 will go to Mike Moroz and Jason Young, with row 9 going to Thomas Ogle and Matthew McMeekin.
Justin Winters and Thomas going to make up row 10. Row 11 sees Chandler Summers and Jeff Price. Anthony Reynolds and Larry Poling are going to roll off in row 12, with row 13 going to Dustin Lamb and Nick Lamb. So an all Lamb row 13. Robert Dudley, the last one to actually take time in qualifying, going to roll off 27th spot. He's going to be joined in row number 14 with Randy Bechtel. Ryan Jones and Chase Berry rolling off in row 15, with row 16 going to Zach Calloway and Scott Stoller. Jason Aronson and Jared Hagedorn going to roll off in row 17, with row 18 going to Tommy Cannon and Dale Ealing Jr. and Mike Mack going to start shotgun on the field all by his lonesome in the 37th starting position.
So that will be the 47 of Tommy Cannon, who will be starting in that final position as we get set to go here for tonight's race. We've got a good amount of drivers, I believe, deciding not to participate in the pace lap, as that could also just be SDK giving me issues as far as who starts where.
Cannon's the only one that's pit starting.
Okay, so everyone except Tommy Cannon is pit starting. Everyone who's not Tommy Cannon will be pit starting as we get set to go for one of the more anticipated seasons that we could have here on the Esports Broadcasting Network. It has been a long time, since the middle of March, since we have seen this series end its season at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is going to be a phenomenal race and a phenomenal season with a bunch of great drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. As the field works its way out of turn number 4, pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn. Lafaro gonna have the button. He got to wait till the green. After that, restarts around the leader. Pace car is in. Green flag is out, and we are underway for the USRA Truck Series.
100 laps. We are green here for the TNT Truck Series, presented by the United Sim Racing Association, as Luke Lafaro already jumps out to the race lead with Jordan Smith, who was the opening race winner last season in that number 24 truck, clear on the inside. Again, cannot go 3 wide here on this first lap, so these guys having to cool it down just a little bit, sitting side by side going into turn 3.
Scott Thompson not getting the start that he needed, as he now has the 76 directly in front of him, and he bailed out and went down to that low lane. Low lane looks like to be where you want to be tonight, at least early on, as these guys are starting to struggle, as Johnny Rapp trying to get the rope pulled to get that outside lane to move.
Still trying to work that outside lane is the 76 of Rapp, but right now it is the inside that has full control with Luke Lafaro, Jordan Smith, Wesley Whitfield, and Evan Pienta. One of the guys that we were talking about had a great start at the beginning stages of the season last year, sort of fell off towards the back half of the season, but is looking to start this season off the right way in that 00 peak Ford F-150.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things we're gonna see all night long is you can see Jordan Smith doing it with Luke Lafaro right now. He's kind of peeking out, not necessarily to try to pass Lafaro. He's just trying to get cool air to the radiator, especially being as tucked up as he is. You see him really peak out there in the middle of 1 and 2, because you can only stay sucked up to the car or the truck in front of you maybe a lap and a half before your temp gauges go into the red, and the next thing you're going to see is a cloud of white smoke coming out the roll pan of that pickup truck.
You see just how much these trucks are moving here as we were just riding on board with Jordan Smith in the 24. That's Thomas Ogle on the outside in the number 23 Ford F-150. So Ford, Toyota, and Chevrolet all represented at the front here as Johnny Rapp looking to push that number 23 of Thomas Ogle to the lead. Luke Lafaro has still led every single lap, but right now the 23 of Ogle has a slight nose out in front. Give the advantage now to Lafaro as they head into turn number 1.
Short way around is always going to be the preferred lane at the plate tracks, at least early on in the event. We have seen in the past the second lane start to come into play once they get some rubber laid down, but you could really see it there that Ogle and Rapp were starting to struggle mid-corner on because there's not a lot of rubber laid down in that lane yet. So they kind of had to feather the throttle to get those trucks to really take a stick.
Looking to the back here, seeing guys that are usually front runners taking the lay back and wait strategy. That's the 8 of Eric Holly. Jeff Pogo is back there as well. Pardon me, who was that?
Somebody was just into the wall.
It might be Dustin Lamb. Oh no, he looks good in that number 10 so far. A lot of guys moving around up here at the front, and these trucks are really moving around a lot here in the early stages of this race. You can just see how uncomfortable that 24 of Jordan Smith is up here at the front. You see him moving all over the place on the inside line.
That was the 29 of Jason Young that caught the safer barrier coming through the tri-oval. So we're probably going to want to keep an eye on him as the night wears on, because he pancaked the right side of that truck.
We'll see him coming up here in just a moment. Jason Young in the number 29, running in the 27th position. I believe it was that purple truck. There it is. Number 29 for Jason Young, and you can see the right side damage on that truck. You can see it just above the TickleZombie.com logo there, at the bottom left of your screen.
He got shuffled out of line. Somebody tried to bump draft him going through the tri-oval, and the back end tried to wash out on him, so he had to chase it up the track. The only problem is he ran out of track to chase.
Jordan Smith still in that second position on the inside lane. Evan Pienta has been promoted up to the third spot on the inside lane. It's the 23 of Ogle, the 76 of Rapp, and I believe that is the 74 of Spirul. That is the third car on the outside line, and that Haviland Ford.
It is.
Scott
One thing to keep in mind too, these guys do have a full fuel tank, but they only have 3 total sets of tires. So the set they started the race on is the same set they qualified on, and then they've only got 2 sets in their pocket for pit stops. So that almost got it.
You can see just how much Jordan Smith in that 24 is not okay with where he is, as we're on board now with Evan Pienta. Get a really good look here on the inside of that car just to see how much these trucks are wiggling around. And that 24, you were talking about drivers peaking and trying to get air to the front end of that race truck. That's not necessarily what the 24 is doing. He's got a handful of truck right now.
Absolutely, as where he's sitting and how close the truck was behind him, it took all the air off his rear spoiler. So the fact that we did not have a caution right there is yeoman's work for the driver of the number 24.
It's the 10 of Dustin Lamb at the back end of the top line there, getting out of shape, hitting the wall going into turn 3. Just a little tiny kiss on the right rear corner was about it. I believe that was Jared Hagedorn in the 2 that took a peek down below the yellow line, trying to collect that truck back up. And he has last season's champion, the 51 of Randy Bechtel, sitting behind him, the season 5 champion in the Cup Series. Randy Bechtel looking to put on a repeat performance here this season.
As these guys are starting to come up on some lap traffic, and this could get interesting. Daytona being the narrower of the 2 plate tracks we're going to go to this season, you can't really go 3 wide safely here a lot. The lapper trying to get up out of the way and stay as high as possible to give everybody a racing lane below him, but 3 wide normally doesn't work here.
That's Tommy Cannon, who took the pit start, who is going to be put a lap down here. So no damage on that number 47, just slow and out of the draft after taking the pit start.
And that's how big the draft is here, too.
Yep, absolutely.
You figure we're only working lap 10, and Cannon was able to leave pit road as soon as the field passed pit exit. The leader passed pit exit is when he was released from his pit box. 10 laps, and he's already a lap down behind the 8 ball right now.
And due to the size of the field, the running order is a little fuddled up here, thanks to the SDK timing and scoring not wanting to play nice. So not necessarily where everyone is where you see. We'll take a look. There is the group that we were talking about before. Jeff Pogo, Eric Holly, Stephen Holmes as well. Now Stephen Holmes sporting the series sponsor on that number 9 truck, the Tickle Zombie number 9. He was sporting it last season towards the end of last year, and they decided to come on and be a sponsor for the TNT Truck Series this season. And those guys right now sitting about 6 seconds, off the main pack.
Bear with me a second here.
The 11 of Daniel Dill there as well. Brandon Ayers, Wesley Whitfield in the 07 in this 6-car group. As up at the front, it is very much vintage Daytona, side-by-side racing all the way up here at the front. And Luke Lafaro still, as we work lap number 12, has been the first one to cross the line every single lap thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great racing that we've seen so far. Tight racing, guys trying to figure out who they can work with, who they can't work with. Who do they feel safe running around? And that's really the key when you're at a plate track, is who do you feel safe around? And we haven't seen a lot of guys try to side draft these trucks, which in the past we've seen has led to a lot of problems, especially early on in a long race like this. Guys put too much trust in somebody that might not be as stable as they should be, and we end up with issues before we're this far into a race. But these guys have been doing great work so far. Everybody's playing nice. Everybody's minding their P's and Q's, as the outside lane with Thomas Ogle and Johnny Rapp starting to make some headway again.
They absolutely are, and Rapp has been behind that number 23 for the better part of about 7 laps now, trying to get that outside line to work, and it just does not work in quite the same way as the trucks, as the Cup cars do. As you can see, that 10 of Dustin Lamb already up 19 positions from where he started, looking to try to make a move on that outside line. Didn't have the momentum going forward, and didn't have the help behind him in order to make that pass, or at least make that move work. So he's going to have to wait and see for a little bit better response.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be the key tonight. Is you know who's going to go with you if you try something, and being the only Toyota in that outside lane, he's a man on a lonely island right now.
Absolutely is, as Thomas Ogle putting up the closest charge we've seen to Luke Lafaro's race lead. And boy, that could not have gotten any closer at the line as we complete lap number 14, working lap number 15 now. Still Luke Lafaro in full control as we take a look at off the back of that Jegs number 20 truck. Jordan Smith still sitting
of a
behind.
second.
How much?
5 1,000ths of a second.
And it's not a stretch to say on ESPN, we've seen closer.
Yes, we have.
We absolutely have seen closer.
We had to go to the 10,000s one night.
Yeah, we did.
Twice.
Yeah, the first was the first 2 oval races for Sim Racer's Edge ever.
Yeah.
We went to the 10,000s position on the timing pylon as Lafaro still leads. And look, that's the 70s. I'm sorry, that's the 10 of Dustin Lamb in the wall on the outside. He tried to make it 3 wide, tried to take the run, and just could not hold it up there. And he is now really slow on that outside line, paying the price for taking a chance early.
And that's the thing, is you get so much turbulence off the nose of these trucks because they're so squared off. They punch such a huge hole in the air. There is so much turbulence when you're running next to another truck that it's very easy to catch a safer barrier, especially with the narrow track that we have tonight here at Daytona.
Absolutely. So now that outside line is actually getting a little bit closer as the 81 of Chris Smith works that outside line. He has the 39 of Shane Ward behind him. Interesting looking 39 truck tonight, and I believe that is the 5. Still looking at some of these numbers. It's a 5 on the side of the car. I believe that is the 37 of Nicholas Lamb on the outside. It is in that number 5 truck behind the 39 of Ward.
Not close enough to really help Ward yet, but trying to reel him in a little bit.
See Jared Hagedorn in the midfield trying to swing from lane to lane, looking to make up some time. Hagedorn so far the biggest mover of the night, up 21 positions in that number 2 Milwaukee Tools Ford. Sitting behind newcomer to the series Mike Meraz in the 94. And also Zach Calloway, who is one of the figureheads from last season. Saw him at every single race last year in that number 55 on the outside, that full matte black number 55 Ford. Just chugging along on that outside lane.
Yeah, the outside lane, they're starting to get organized, and they're starting to get some rubber laid down. So we're seeing that lane start to be able to do something. Still not going to beat the short way around the track, though. You're going to need a very condensed effort and a lot of help to get that outside lane to the point. Now the question is, if Ogle is able to get by Lafaro, is he going to hang everybody out to dry in that outside lane?
Speaking of that outside lane, you can see just how much that outside lane is moving around down that back straightaway as we'll take a look off the back of Johnny Rapp in the number 76 Turtle Beach Chevrolet, and you'll see it's not necessarily much in the corners. It's what you were talking about, that turbulent air coming off of these square trucks really wreaking havoc down the straightaway as boy Rapp getting very close to the 24 on the inside of him.
Yeah, that could have ended about 8 different kinds of poorly, but luckily these guys are as skilled as they are. Now we are closing in on the first round of green flag pit stops. The big question is anybody going to take tires, or is it just going to be fuel and go?
That was the double zero of Evan Pienta that the 76 almost collided with. And is now the 81 of Chris Smith starting to pull back just a little bit on the reins on that outside line. 20 laps in, and the number 20 truck has led this entire race thus far, with the 24 of Jordan Smith sitting behind him. Again, we are a fifth of the way through this opening race, and still not a caution to be found with a full 37 truck field.
It's not for lack of trying, because these guys have been all over this track so far tonight. But it just, everybody's been driving heads up. They've been playing nice so far. It's not go time yet. I mean, we're talking a 100-lap race. We're not even to the quarter mark yet. And, you know, these guys are just kind of feeling this out. This first fuel run, just to see what the truck's going to do. You know, there's not really a lot of fall off as far as tire wear goes from what it looks like. So it's going to be interesting to see when we do get to the green flag stops, who's going to go with who's going to do what as far as in the pit box. And, you know, it's really going to be into the team's hands at that point.
Absolutely. Is that outside line not only starting to thin out as far as getting closer to each other, it's starting to thin out as far as participants on that outside line. Only 6 drivers currently occupying that outside lane now, as this field towards the mid-pack has started to fall in line and are seeming a lot more content to ride around the inside of this racetrack as this run continues to progress.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of got to go where everybody else isn't. You know, that's usually how that works. But seeing a familiar name in that top line right now, the 49 of Robert Dudley. He's already up 16 spots.
Yep, he absolutely is. He's going to swing right down to the inside in front of the 37 of Nicholas Lamb, as that's Chandler Summers at the back end of the outside line now in the number 15. He's up 12 spots from where he started this race tonight in that Tompkins number 15 Chevrolet behind Shane Ward on the outside. And look at Zach Calloway in the 55 trying to take a run from behind the 37 of Lamb and try to take it all the way up to the back end of the 15.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to time your runs as, you know, you can't really get somebody under braking here, because if you're on the brakes, you're probably crashing. But, you know, you really have to use the draft, and the guys that know how to work the draft are able to make some headway. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing, especially in that outside lane, is the 76 of Rapp has to actually put the chrome horn to the 23 of Thomas Ogle if either of them are going to have a chance to get by the 20 of LaFaro.
And this is about as close as they have been here over the last couple of laps as LaFaro and Ogle come to the line. We are a quarter distance in to this race, and still Luke LaFaro has been seemingly invincible up at the front of this field, has not yet lost the race lead here. Jordan Smith, Evan Pienta still sitting right on him on the inside line. That's the 26 of Scott Tompkins in that Noble Winston Ford, sitting there, the 4th car on the inside line. And from there, there's a little bit of a gap back to the 74, as these cars really getting closer, as you had mentioned, getting closer to that first round of pit stops. As again, only 2 sets of tires these trucks have here tonight. Well, 2 sets of tires they can change on to. And as you'd mentioned a couple of laps ago, this could be a situation to where, hey, let's just throw some fuel in at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tire wear normally isn't a big deal at Daytona or Talladega. And the biggest thing you're going to see is you'll see a lot of guys take lefts only. But you know, you really have to coordinate your pit stop with anybody that's going with you, because as we saw earlier, the one driver that pit started went a lap down in less than 10 laps.
Absolutely, and we'll see. Boy, who was that in the back? I think that might have been Jeff Price in the 14. It was. Now, Jeff Price, we're used to seeing in the Rowdy Energy Cup Series in that number 14. As Price made a big move from the inside to the outside, from the outside to the inside, pardon me, leaving Chandler Summers in the 15 out to dry, and he is going to be forced to fall all the way now to the back of this group, as it's still about the first 3 or 4 cars that are running side by side up here at the front. It's LaFaro, Ogle, and Jordan Smith on the inside line. And Smith, good news for Smith, it appears as though he settled that truck down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that truck was virtually undrivable early on in the race, but it looks like since he's able to wear some of the goodie off the tires, it's gotten more to his liking. But, as we were talking, that outside lane, just dwindling numbers, is down to 4 now. And the field's starting to get stretched out. There's some gaps starting to form. And as Wilson put it on the hauler, it looks like we're getting close to green flag pit stops.
We absolutely are, as we take a look at Chris Smith, the third truck on that outside line, getting very up close and personal with that wall in 3 and 4, trying to find a spot as the 39 makes it to the inside, and now the 81 is being split. If you want to know what it's like to be split in one of these trucks, that was it right there.
That's the worst feeling in the world, especially when you're at a plate track, when you hear your spotter go, 3 wide, you're the meat.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, you have absolutely no help as he falls to the back end of that outside line. Robert Dudley leaving him a little bit of room and now closing it up. Jeff Price and Matthew McMeekin now, the trucks to his inside, is now the 81 of Smith will be forced to take that run. As LaFaro still holding firm up here in the race lead. That's 76 of Rapp, giving Ogle one heck of a push. And for the first time tonight, Luke LaFaro does not lead a lap. Give that lap to Thomas Ogle.
14 one-thousandths of a second at the stripe, and that's exactly what Rapp had to do. He laid the chrome horn to him coming off of 4 and just pushed. I mean, drafting is one thing, but if you can get somebody right on your bumper to actually give you a shove, that's exactly what they need to do. Now they know what they need to do, and the question is, can they continue to do it? Do they have enough cool water in the radiator, as we see the 76 of Rapp peek out to try to get some cool air to the front of that Chevy Silverado, as Chevy pushing forward right now on that outside lane.
Chevy pushing Toyota on the inside is Jordan Smith. We may have spoken a little bit too soon as far as Jordan Smith's ability to calm that number 24 down, as he has been all over the place on this last lap. Still holding firm on that inside line. 39 of Shane Ward has promoted himself up to the third car on the outside line, pardon me, as we get inside of 30 laps complete, 70 to go, still caution-free from Daytona.
These guys are just putting on a clinic to how to drive full-fendered cars around Daytona. The fact that we've seen good, hard racing
Here we go.
from the drop of the green.
39 of Ward coming in, and he is the only one to peel off and head down pit road.
Oh, that's the worst feeling in the world.
Absolutely is. As that broke up the outside line a little bit, and that leaves the 76 with no help from behind. It's coming, though, in the form of the 81 of Chris Smith.
Yeah, here we go, everybody trying to get low. Looks like Ogle and Tompkins are both trying to call pit right now.
Take a look at Thomas Ogle. The 23 has gotten in line. The 76 of Rapp has gotten in line as well. Drivers on the inside coming in. Drivers on the outside staying out. Luke Lafaro brings a group of drivers into pit lane with him, and that will leave Jordan Smith with the race lead in that number 24.
So second leader tonight goes to the guy that helped push the entire night long, as scoring just went haywire.
Yeah, that was that group we saw there. That was that group of Eric Holly, Jeff Pogo, Daniel Dill coming out of pit road. As I believe we're about to see Jordan Smith and Evan Pienta now come down pit road, as the 39 might mess that up here, as the 24 really had to make that move on the 39 stick, and that is not how you want to do it, but you have to in some cases, and for the 24 of Smith, they made it work.
That was a code brown for all drivers involved. New fire suits needed, as that hands the lead of the race over to Matt McMeekum, as he's leading that group that has still stayed out, as McMeekum, Bechtel, Berry, Lamb, Summers, and Jones all jockeying right now to try to figure out what's got to happen next.
There are a couple of trucks in this group here, like the 29, that have come into pit. So this is not all just trucks that have not come in, or that have not come into pit. Now they all come in. And this should hand the lead of the race
back to
over to the 24 of Jordan Smith at the moment. So Jordan Smith currently holding the lead on Evan Pienta. Luke Lafaro coming up very, very quickly on this group. He's got the 26 of Scott Tompkins with him. Mike Mraz in that number 94 green Giant machine also coming along that outside line. And it looks as though, at least for right now, that Smith and Pienta are going to be able to hold this race lead, at least for the moment. As still cycling out is Randy Bechtel, Chase Barry, and Matt McMeekin coming out of pit road. Those guys are officially the race leaders, but they are about to be caught by Pienta and Smith right now.
Absolutely. Is you got the guys with a head of steam, as Pienta sucked right up to the back bumper of the 24. Those guys are trying to put as much distance as they can between themselves and Luke Lafaro, as Lafaro has a lot of help right now. I believe that's Mike Mraz right behind him.
It's Scott Tompkins behind him. Mraz is the next truck behind him. Now Lafaro will look to the outside to try to take that race lead away. Instead, he's going to fall in line behind Evan Pienta. So instead of trying to take that run, he decides to stick in line, and look at the 23 of Thomas Ogle. He's got no help on that outside line, except for, I don't know, maybe the series champion last year, the 51 of Randy Bechtel coming up behind. Actually falling to the back of that group now that I say something.
Yeah, Bechtel knows that it's a little too early to be trying to dance with death on that second lane. And there's not a lot of vision to your left when you're in one of these trucks. You have the seat in your way, you have the A-pillar in your way, you have the window net in your way. So if you're not running a virtual reality headset, it's very difficult to work that outside lane, and it's very uncomfortable. Even in a free monitor setup, it's very uncomfortable to try to make that happen, and put that vehicle where you're close enough to make it work, but not too close where you get into that inside lane.
The 10 of Dustin Lamb and the 37 of Nicholas Lamb have both had major issues somewhere on track. You saw Dustin Lamb on replay there just pull it off. And there are both Dustin and Nicholas Lamb sitting on pit road with heavy damage to the front end of those trucks. And there appears to be some damage on the back end of the 7. That is Ryan Jones in that number 7 truck, currently occupying the 32nd position. Fortunately for him, it's rear end damage and not front end damage.
I think there was a bump draft gone wrong. There's a ton of damage on the 37 at Lamb.
See the crinkled up rear end on the 7 of Ryan Jones.
And the 10 looks even worse. Holy cow.
Yeah, he's sticking up there on that outside line and making it work. So he's got pace in that number 7 truck. Unfortunately, right now, he's considered a lap down as Jordan Smith currently leads this race. We are working lap 39 of 100 here from Daytona, the first round of the TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association right here on ESPN. Round number 1 from Daytona, still caution free, working lap 39. We will be right back after this. Working lap 43 of 100 here to open up the season for the TNT Truck Series, presented by the United Sim Racing Association. And the official title to this series is the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series. Tony, tell us a little bit about the new series sponsor.
Well, Frank, let me ask you this. Are your shirts showing no signs of life?
My shirts are showing no signs of much of anything at the moment. I'm wearing a plain white t-shirt.
Well, then you need to go to ticklezombie.com, talk to Brian, and get to choose from their ever-expanding selection of mindlessly quirky and creative designs from the spur-of-the-moment ideas that will tickle your fancy, I promise. Not only do they have shirts, but they have hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. No need to think about it. Just go to ticklezombie.com, and even your girlfriend will love them.
Well, there you go. So there's your new series sponsor, ticklezombie.com. We've taken a look at some of the shirts prior to the race here tonight. And Tony, you said they were quite interesting.
Yeah, I might actually have to place an order because they've got a really cool speed racer on a Schwinn, the classic speed racer pose, and he's holding a Schwinn racing bike. And then their Gone Racing shirt, I love it. I absolutely love that design. I might have to get a hoodie for that for when Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett comes over here in October and we go to Super Dirt Week.
So choose from an ever-expanding selection of designs created
Caution.
from... Oh, yep, caution is out for the first time tonight. Don't they know to wait for the sponsor read to finish?
Yeah, I know, right?
So we'll look. We'll try to find, Tony, if you wouldn't mind trying to help me find this this caution here, why we're under caution for the first time tonight.
Working on it.
Nearly halfway through the race here tonight.
I got nothing.
And there you go. Might be Jason Young, since he was the one that that jumped into the pits in that number 29, so he could be part of it. We'll see what happened to Jason. If the... Nope, buy racing is not going to play nice. So we can't see what happened to Jason Young, but we see a little bit of left front damage on that number 29. So that is the cause of the first caution here tonight. As we work lap 46 of 100 here. And Tony, the question is now, do you come into pit?
I'm not going to say no. But
you're not going to say yes either. It's one of those things.
I mean, I could say yes, but if I am coming into pit, I'm taking tires. This is basically a free pit stop.
Saw a group of drivers come in. It was a plethora of decisions made. Some guys taking fuel only, some guys taking 2 tires. So there are a lot of guys out here that have a mixed set of tires, and there's the answer. Everybody coming into pit road right now for 4 tires, well, for what we would expect are 4 tires and fuel, is Zach Callaway, who had the race lead at the time of the caution, brings them down for the first time.
He's the first one to hit his pit stop, and left side's going on that 55 truck. So not taking a 4-tire stop, just taking lefts, which we've seen quite a few drivers do in the past here. There are some drivers with the right sides up in the air, one of which being the 20 of Luke LaFaro. Looks like he's taking a 4-tire stop. A lot of guys electing to just take lefts as Johnny Rapp stayed out.
Johnny Rapp, the only driver that elected to stay out. Zach Callaway, Matt McMeekin, the top 2 drivers coming off of pit lane as we work caution number 1 here tonight, working lap number 47 of tonight's race. And we're seeing that it's been quite a nice conversation going on in the chat here tonight. We're absolutely thrilled to death to see the series sponsor Tickle Zombie watching the race here tonight. Joining the broadcast for the first race of their newly minted series. Suggesting Go Cyclist Go as their, well, I don't think they would be suggesting it. I think they have the
well, that's the name of the shirt that I was saying that has
Speed Racer. There it is. Okay.
Classic Speed Racer pose as he's coming out of the Mach 5 but instead of the Mach 5 behind him, it's a Schwinn racing bike. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, I would hate to think that they're projecting that that's their best seller. They have the metrics that they could see. So I'll finish that read because this one's got quite a tongue twister in it, and I want to see if I can get it on command here. Choose from an ever-expanding selection of designs created from spur-of-the-moment ideas. Instantly inject intoxicating interest today at ticklezombie.com. I got it. I stepped over myself. I can't tell you how many times reading that off air, and I actually got it this time.
Well then.
You're supposed to say good for you.
As I'm looking down through the field, Thomas Ogle took rights. Everybody in front of him took lefts. And then Chad Smith took 4. Luke LaFaro took rights. Jeff Price took 4. Robert Dudley and Chad Summers took lefts. And Jason Aronson took 4.
See that pit stop time there down at the bottom of your screen for the top 5 drivers. Again, Rapp did not come into pit under that last caution. 8.7, 8.1, 8.4, that would be indicative of a 2-tire pit stop. So guys that may have taken 2 under the green flag, getting rid of that mixed set as we go back to green flag racing. Johnny Rapp with a great jump there on the 55 of Zach Calloway, and he's going to need it since he's the only one that did not come in.
Well, he's going to be a sitting duck as the 41 of McMeekum closing in on him quick. The 55 of Callaway needs to get some help from Miraz as Miraz trying to get to his back bumper, but there's not a lot of help yet on that outside lane, although they do have the 23 of Thomas Ogle, who we know loves that second lane.
Yep, absolutely does. As there's somebody poking out, trying to get to the back there. I think that's the 6 of Dale Elan Jr. It is, and that red number 6. As we are about to hit the halfway point of this race, Johnny Rapp currently in the race leads Zach Callaway, Matt McMeekin, Mike Miraz. The top 4, it's Rapp and Callaway in the leading positions. It's McMeekin and Miraz in the pushing positions.
And everybody kind of minding their P's and Q's still, as we're not seeing 3 trucks try to push each other, which we know ends nothing but poorly and for tears for everyone. As Johnny Rapp just hugging that yellow line, trying to get McMeekum to give him a bigger shove. McMeekum, though, not really a big help yet.
No, he has not been. That's McMeekin in the 41 on the inside. Mike Miraz in the 94 on the outside. Thomas Ogle still working that outside line in the number 23 as Johnny Rapp leads at the halfway mark. Officially into the second half of the first race of the season, and it has been fantastic from the word go here so far tonight.
Absolutely. Everybody minding the P's and Q's, and the fact that these guys have run 2 wide as much as 12 deep at times, and we've only seen 1 single car caution. This is how league racing should be in the iRacing servers.
Absolutely. And if you want to see a guy who's stuck right in the middle of it, we'll take a ride on board with the number 4. You good?
Just Miraz almost got into McMeekum there, coming through 3 and 4.
5 of Scott Stolter also almost having it coming together with that outside wall. It's the first time we've seen Stolter in this race thus far, working in the 12th position, up 20 positions from where he started in that HendrickCars.com number 25, as I believe that was Eddie Sparrow that was in the wall in that Haviland number 74. There he is sliding to the back.
Yeah, that was a big moment coming through 1 and 2. Just could not get that. The truck just shot up the track, and he could not get it collected back down before the safer barrier, pancaked the entire right side of that truck. So he is in trouble for the rest of this event.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see the 5 of Stolter going from the outside to the inside. And one of those guys that we've talked about being a staple last season, there's Justin Winters in the number 52 Allen's machine up there on the outside line. Very, very competitive come the end of last season was the 52 of Winters. Looking to have a solid race, looking to have a solid season thus far. He's remained quiet. He's been on that outside line. He's been in the front pack all night long. But that 52 looking very, very solid at the moment.
Well, we got one truck in the sucker hole right now that went from the high lane to the low lane, back almost to the high lane, and heads up driving for everyone around him that we didn't have another caution there.
Absolutely. As Johnny Rapp still leading in the 76. Now, Rapp finds himself in the peculiar situation that he is 12 laps off cycle from the rest of the field. Right now, he came into pit on lap 34. Everybody else came into pit on lap 46. So he is going to have to beg and plead for somebody to fall out of sync with the rest of the field in order to come in and not completely lose his race.
Well, right now he's praying for a yellow flag. That's about the only thing that's going to save Johnny Rapp right now. Is another quick caution. That way he can go in, get for Mr. Feelgood's fresh tank to go fast, and try to finish this race with everyone else. Other than that, he's definitely going to be going at least one lap down before all is said and done.
Tony, I know this is something we don't usually do, and this is something that we probably should do a little bit more often. It's the first race of the new series with the new sponsor. You want to crank it up here for a couple laps?
Crank it up, SA.
All right, here we go. We'll crank it up here at Daytona. I'll tell you what, that is a lot of fun, and I know we probably didn't crank it up as much as we probably could have there, but certainly a lot of fun to listen to these cars, and especially when we were following the 81, when we were riding on board with the 81 of Chris Smith, how much throttle he had, how much he had to play with the throttle, especially coming through turns 3 and 4. That certainly is something you wouldn't expect out of a track where it's essentially just hit it wide open.
Well, the thing you got to remember, too, is you can only go, A, where there's a hole, and B, where somebody in front of you is going to. And with him mired in the traffic that he's in on that high lane, he's kind of got to play with the throttle a little bit to try to stay off of the 23 of Tom Ogle, or else you're sending the guy in front of you around.
Absolutely. As we get into lap number 59 here, Zach Callaway, the current leader of the race with the 94 of Mike Mraz on the outside, as I believe we have an incident here towards the back of the field. That is Shane Ward in the 39 that was off track and is now in pit road. We'll take a look and see what happened to the 39 if we can. And he is off the track down there. That is in turns 1 and 2. Had a big moment, killed the engine of that race car.
It's probably due to the fact that, you know, these guys aren't doing the smart thing. As you see the second car in line there, the 90, yeah,
94.
the 90, playing duck and peek around the 55's back bumper. He's trying to get some cool air to that radiator to try to get those gauges out of the red zone, because once they do go into the red zone, you're on borrowed time. It maybe half a lap from the time that the needle goes into the red to the time that engine just goes poof.
And now Callaway jumping
pretty wide.
Callaway jumping to the outside as the 26 of Scott Tompkins took it 3 wide in the middle of the racetrack. And Tompkins right now doesn't have any form of help. And as a matter of fact, Callaway is going to have enough room to get back down. Second car now on that outside lane. So that move from inside to out for Tompkins paying off there in that number 26 No Bull machine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was definitely okay, I'm tired of waiting. We're inside 40 laps to go. I got to make some headway. I got to try to get to the front of this field as quickly as I can. And Tompkins trying to make it happen on that second lane. Has some help from Callaway now as the 94 Mraz smartly kind of drops back a little bit. He picks up Tom Ogle. Ogle's going to have to work with Mraz to try to get a third lane going if they want to make some headway.
39 and a half laps to go. Well, 39 and a quarter at this point as we get down working lap 62 at the line, and a big wiggle from Thomas Ogle, somehow able to save that number 23 on the inside, the save of the night.
Here's armrest.
My goodness, that was close.
Yeah, that was probably the closest oh crap moment we've seen all night long.
And there's not a lot of, there wasn't a big gap broken in that front group either. Everyone's kind of stayed where they were as if nothing had happened, but boy, Ogle had a big moment.
Yes, he absolutely did. He lost a couple of spots doing it too, as Ryan Jones now gets to the back bumper of Mraz, and we've seen Jones in the past make things happen.
Yep, and Ryan Jones, I believe he had gotten the win at, if I remember correctly, I think it was the season finale at Charlotte is where Ryan Jones finally broke that win. So Jones looking for 2 in a row in the USRA on the outside, and it wasn't that long ago. We were talking about him being a lap down with left rear damage on that truck. He still has the left rear damage. He's not a lap down anymore, though. He's battling for position up in the top 10 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He got the free pass under the caution that put him back on the lead lap, and he has just made up positions like gangbusters since the drop of the green to take us back into action.
Absolutely, as he is
new leader.
Yep, third car on that outside lane as Scott Tompkins, who was leading that outside lane, now drops in front of the 76 of Johnny Rapp, who cannot be that far away from a pit stop here, as Rapp jumps up to the outside line now, and he'll actually lead that lap. Johnny Rapp working with 12 laps less fuel than everybody else, and right now he is 30 laps into this fuel run. Granted, give it about 4 caution laps to it, he's probably about 4 or 5 laps away from coming into pit road here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that is definitely finite in the iRacing servers is how much virtual fuel they give you, and these trucks only hold 18 gallons, and yeah, we did have that caution to help a little bit, but we're within the next, I say 5 laps, we're probably going to see the 76 have to peel off.
And that would put him around lap 70, which is where we would expect you be able to go and make it from there. So these guys are probably looking at their last pit stop here. If barring another caution and expecting this race to go the way the first half of the race did, which honestly I haven't seen anything to suggest that it won't go the way the first half did.
No, these guys have definitely been putting on a clinic of how to drive these trucks competitively, fast, but yet respectfully, so that we don't have a caution-filled race like you can see sometimes, especially in the official iRacing servers. You got guys that they kind of drive a little over their head, and cautions start to breed cautions, and people get more frustrated, and more mistakes happen, and that's how you ruin an iRating.
Absolutely. As Anthony Reynolds in the 82 is the first time we've seen him up in the top 10 all night long. Same thing with the 80 of Ellis Thomas. He has jumped up into the mix for the first time. As we're starting to see some new faces in this front group here as we get later and later into this race, as Ryan Jones now leading that outside lane as the 55 of Zach Calloway has taken the race lead away from Johnny Rapp.
Caution.
And the caution has come out. Looks like Eddie Spurrill in the 74.
Ellis Thomas got collected in that one too.
We were just talking about Ellis, and this is a big one too. Jared Hagedorn's in it. That's the 9 of Stephen Holmes.
That started with the 52.
It's the 52. 52 is Justin Winters, and you can see the rear end damage on Winters' number 52 machine. We'll take a look and see what happened here, as this one was right in the middle of the pack. Eddie Spurrill, who we saw get into the wall earlier on, and that's a big, boy, there's the 80 getting a hard hit into the fence there. The 24 involved as well of Jordan Smith. 51 of Randy Bechtel just making it through. Same with the 8 of Eric Holly. There's Jared Hagedorn backwards.
So
take a look at
the 74 of Eddie Spurrill looked like he was trying to follow the 16 through, making a third lane, and just caught the safer barrier going into 3, came down into the 52, and then all hell broke loose.
And unfortunately, iRacing being a little finicky with the replay. So now Johnny Rapp gets the caution that he absolutely needed, because he was going to have to come in here in the next couple of laps. So he is now back on cycle with everybody as the entire field makes its way down onto pit road.
And we're at that point where you can make it from here. We've seen him go 34 laps under green as the 00 just blew through his pit.
That was Evan Pienta blowing through his pit box. Scott Tompkins, the winner of the race, off of pit road.
Looks like everybody except for Tompkins and Jeff Price took 4 in fuel.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Ryan Jones may have sat in pit road a little bit longer to get some of that rear end knocked out. But other than that, you're right. It looks as though everyone taking 4 tires. And with 33 laps to go, what we will do is we will take our final break and come right back. You are watching the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association from Daytona. Here, round number 1 of Season 6 for the USRA. We will be right back after this. Coming back to action here with 31 laps to go. Pace truck peeling off. Scott Thompson is down and away. And we are back to green flag racing. And Thompson might be a little bit too far down and away for his own good, as Luke Lafaro, for the first time since coming into the pit lane with the lead, now sucks right back up to the rear end of that No Bull number 26.
Yeah, but look who Lafaro has right behind him. That's the 14 of Jeff Price. Price we saw get into the wall earlier, and it's great to see him back into the top 5.
Absolutely is the 7 of Ryan Jones, currently sitting as the lead car on that outside line. The 76 of Johnny Rapp, who was thoroughly saved by that caution. Now in the second position on the outside. And also look at Robert Dudley in the 49 machine, also working that outside line. Anthony Reynolds up there on the outside as well, as a lot of guys we've seen up front occupying the inside lane. Guys we haven't seen up towards the front too much on the outside.
You know, you got to remember that, I mean, Johnny Rapp used pit strategy to perfection in that last green flag run that we saw. The 7 of Ryan Jones was starting to reel him in, and never count out Robert Dudley. He's one of the most cerebral drivers you're ever going to meet. You know, very good racecraft for the driver of the number 49. And the only time I've really ever seen Robert not finish a race is when he got caught up in someone else's dumpster fire through no making of his own. So, I mean, the top 3 in that outside lane are going to be able to make it happen. But right now, Tompkins and Lafaro just in lockstep right now in that inside lane.
And Lafaro, used to this being the other way around, Lafaro led the first 25 laps of this race. And just think, it was the first 25 laps, and we're already working lap 72 as Ryan Jones gets a bad push in the middle of the corner from Johnny Rapp, almost sending him around. But Jones, being the good driver that he is, keeps that car going straight. And look at the 82 of Anthony Reynolds. He's now the 3rd car on that outside lane.
Yeah, Reynolds definitely hungry right now, trying to make some headway, knowing that time is running out. I mean, we're inside 29 to go. Yeah, it'll be 28 to go this time across the stripe. As, you know, these guys know it's go time. So what we saw earlier with them playing nice and, you know, not bump drafting in the tri-oval or in the middle of the corner, don't expect to see that coming here towards the end.
As our series sponsor, Tickle Zombie, said, it's going to get busy now. It certainly already is. And just think, we still have 28 laps to go in this. This still isn't as busy as it's going to get, as Ryan Jones currently leads that outside line, while Scott Tompkins currently leads the race here on the inside line. Lafaro has room to jump up. Same with the 14 of Jeff Price, having room to jump up as well, as Jones starting to fall back just a little bit in that number 7 truck.
Not getting the help he needs right now from Johnny Rapp. Rapp trying to keep that truck kind of cool towards the end of this race, and doesn't look like he wants to play nice with the Toyota in front of him.
No, not quite, as Rapp trying to be as steady as he possibly can. He's pushed that 7 right back up to where he is battling for the race lead here at the moment. We're almost 3/4 distance gone here in this 100-lap race. You see the 5 of I believe that's Stolter on the outside line towards the back there blinking, as boy, the 82 of Anthony Reynolds has a big wiggle there in front of the 81 of Chris Smith, who has been nice and patient tonight, has the 81 of Smith. Might be about time we start seeing some aggression out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Chris Smith, Chris Smith doesn't like to, you know, finish second place to anybody. Not that anybody really likes to, but, you know, we've seen Chris Smith do some really miraculous things towards the end of races before. But, I mean, right now, he's going to have to do yeoman's work, and he's going to have a lot of help behind him if he wants to make a 3rd lane, which, with as narrow as Daytona is, probably not the best idea this early.
And you can see just how much these trucks are moving and wiggling around on the outside lane here as they come out of turn number 4 to the lead. Scott Tompkins still leading this race. He's now clear of both the 7 and the 20. The only 2 drivers in the top 5 currently that were here last season are the 2, the 20 and the 7. That is it of the drivers on screen. Those are the only ones that have a rapport with the USRA. Everybody else brand new to the series. Robert Dudley and Zach Calloway, the only other ones in the top 10 that have a rapport with the USRA. The 76 of Johnny Rapp really looking to make the push as they come up on Jordan Smith in the 24 and put him a lap down.
The 7 and the 76, they were doing the smart thing. They were trying to get whatever draft they could get off the 24 to try to pull them ahead. That right now it's neck and neck with Tompkins and Jones coming through the tri-oval. Tompkins has the short way around, so give the lap to him, as Jones still trying to figure out a way that he can get clear of the 26 and probably wants to drop down to get to that low lane because nobody likes to be in that high lane.
We see it so often with the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars that outside line, especially coming off at turn 4, has a very big momentum pull. That does not seem to be the case here tonight, as that outside line really needs a massive shove if they want to beat the driver on the inside.
And it has to do with the aerodynamics of this car, or truck, if you will. It's like trying to push a brick through the air. But coming off of 4, you're actually going downhill on that outside lane more than you are on the inside lane, which is why we've seen so many, turn 4 outside lane slingshot passes in the past in the car version of the full fender NASCAR series. The trucks, they have so much aero to overcome that you don't see it as effective in the trucks as you do in the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars.
Just think of Denny Hamlin recently winning a Daytona 500 with that slingshot move. And of course, I think the most famous at this point is Kevin Harvick going around Mark Martin on the outside coming off of turn 4. That's really the one that stands out when you think of move off of turn 4 coming to the line. What was that?
Let's not talk about that one. I'm still bitter over that.
Yeah, I am as well, and I'm not a Mark Martin fan. As the 9 and the 21, that is Stephen Holmes and Mike Mock both getting lapped. Holmes in that Tickle Zombie number 9 was a part of that last incident, which is why he has fallen off. He was riding towards the back. We saw him earlier on tonight riding in the back with the likes of Jeff Pogo and Eric Holly. However, he was involved in that last incident that really put him back and damaged that number 9 truck. So the series sponsored truck, unfortunately, not having the night that he would have hoped to have with the series sponsor on board, as Ryan Jones actually looking like he is going to get the race lead off of that outside line, and this time he does.
12 thousandths of a second for Jones at the stripe. Basically, the distance from the tip of the front bumper to about the middle of the hood, almost the center line of the front axle, as they're going 3 wide coming off a 2.
Yep, and they're moving Tompkins out of line as Luke Lafaro splits him to the inside, and it looks as though Tompkins now might be falling back, but the 81 of Chris Smith is able to pick him up on the inside, 3 wide, 2 rows deep. The 7 falls in front of the 26 of Tompkins, and now the 76 and 82 are starting to fall back on that outside line. Daniel Dill in the 11 has the 8 and the 4 of Holly and Pogo with him on the outside as well.
And look who's back to the point, the 20 of Luke Lafaro.
It almost seems as though he's there at the right time. Jeff Price is also there. Robert Dudley in this mix as well. Those are the first 3 cars of the inside line with 20 to go.
Absolutely, and the best thing you can hope for, if you see a ton of traffic in front of you, like Dudley and Tompkins are seeing right now, just try to get out of here with a good points night. I mean, that's really all you can hope for is survive Daytona. Um, you don't want to be the guy that tries to move somebody out of the way and do a bump and run at 182 miles an hour and just wad the field. So we're getting to that point where you're going to make your bed, you're going to lie in it. Right now, Ryan Jones trying to get that outside lane to work with the 23 right behind him. I don't know if the 23's got enough pushing experience to get him up there, though.
That's the 26 of Scott
26,
Tompkins.
I'm sorry.
On that,
Tompkins.
On that outside line, as Ryan Jones was looking at least a lap ago to try to get into the inside line between Price and Dudley, just could not get the move to stick. And then by the time he was about to, the gap closed. The 55 and the 26 both have it coming together. They both save the trucks. Towards the back of the field, they're still wrecking. That's Eland in the 6. That's slow and now sideways in turn 1. Caution still not coming out as Eland is now stuck on that inside lane. This might bring out the caution. It does.
There it is.
And that started with the 55 of Callaway and the 26 of Tompkins getting together and stacking the entire field up. And that's what caused that.
Oh, that's what we were talking about, where you're not going to see these guys start to play nice much longer as the 81 got into the back of the 26, kind of bump drafted him coming out of the tri-oval. The 26 lost the back end, went down into the 55, slowed up, and you can't see past the truck in front of you, directly in front of you. And, that's what happened to Eland is, unfortunately, he just got flat run over from behind.
That was Eland in the 69 of Larry Poling that had a coming together going into turn 1, and you saw it just side-to-side contact between the 55 and the 26, and that was where the caution came out. So now you have a decision to make here is, do you come into pit, top off the fuel just to make sure, or do you think you were good to go? And this caution here is going to just put you over the edge, and I think they chose the latter.
Looks like everybody's staying out.
Scott Tompkins coming in, as you would assume, to fix damage. Thomas Ogle coming in as well. Zach Callaway, Evan Pienta, you just saw him go flashing by in the 00. There he is. Zach Callaway in the 55.
Now, the thing is, tire wear is not a huge deal here at the repave of Daytona. There's still a lot of grip in this track. So, these guys that went down pit road to get some tires, it looks like, yes, looks like 4 tires for everybody that went down pit road this time. So I dare say, look for those guys to really kind of line up on that outside lane and try to make something happen. But they're going to need a lot of help.
That was Brandon Ayers in the 16 that got the wave around there. So while we have a second here, let's take a look at what's coming up here for the remainder of the week on ESPN. Coming up tomorrow night will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. They will be in the ARCA cars at Talladega. The first 2 ARCA races of the season were incredible shows, and with this being the first of the round of 8 races in the playoffs, this is certainly going to be a wild night at Talladega tomorrow night for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. Saturday afternoon will be the E Formula 3.5 Series. They will run the Australian Grand Prix from Phillip Island at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Sunday night will be the Medieval Racing League from the Texas Motor Speedway, round number 7 at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Monday, the Rowdy Energy Cup Series turns left and right for the second time in 3 weeks as they head up to wine country at the Sonoma Raceway up in Northern California as they inch closer and closer to the halfway mark of their season. And that will all be right here on ESPN. And I'm sure, thanks to Sam's computer troubles, I will be in the booth in one way, shape, or form for all of those races.
It all depends on whether or not his Ram sticks show up on Friday.
Tuesday, actually.
Well, then, yeah, you're in the booth.
Yep. So I'll be in the booth in one way, shape, or form for all of those races coming up here this weekend.
As the job was dangerous when you took it.
Yep, exactly right. As we set to go back to green flag racing here, Luke LaFaro and Jeff Price in the leading row. Robert Dudley and Ryan Jones get assigned the pushing row here for what we hope is the last caution, but what we expect is not. As we get set to go, we will have 15 laps to go. When the green flag comes out, leader can go at his discretion as the pace car will duck on off. Green flag is back in the air. 14 laps to go when we take the green flag, and the 81 of Chris Smith has had a problem.
Spun the tires on the restart and just had to go down to the apron to save it.
Yep, and just really lost all of that ground as Smith started in the 4th row on the inside line and is now at the back of this pack.
There was a big stack up behind him, but this front group, look at the outside lane with Price and Jones.
Whoa! You knew that was coming as Ryan Jones goes right to the inside to take over that race lead. Ryan Jones, the winner of the season finale at Charlotte about 2 months ago for the Cup Series, wants to keep that streak alive as Jones will lead this lap. 13 laps to go in front of Luke LaFaro. Robert Dudley there as well, running in the 3rd position in the 49, leading that outside lane now.
Dudley with a big power move to get up in front of Price. Saw that Chevy was able to push a Toyota to the lead. He wants to be the Toyota in the lead as they work their way down to the back straightaway here, the super stretch at Daytona. Dudley with a nose out front, hauling it off into turn number 3.
Boy, and LaFaro had a huge wiggle there, as you're right. Robert Dudley all the way out into the race lead in that number 49. The 14 of Jeff Price keeps the 7 of Ryan Jones from being able to move out, as that's the 1 up in the wall. The 8 and the 11 go spinning off down into the infield. There's Holly getting back in order. Daniel Dill spinning back up towards the racetrack, and somehow we stay green.
Everybody able to avoid the spinning 11 as he was off the racing line, and the algorithm for iRacing decided that was not caution worthy. I don't think there's live race control tonight.
No, there's not.
So we do stay green as Dudley dropping down below the apron.
Yep, shoved all the way to the apron. I don't think he meant to do that, as we're 3 wide now going through turn 3. LaFaro trying to split the middle as the 49 tries to get his momentum back, still running 3 wide. Coming out of turn 3, there goes the 7 of Jones, the 20 of LaFaro's around. The caution will certainly come out this time as the big one strikes at Daytona.
Wow, 11 laps to go, and you kind of knew it was coming when you saw Dudley get shuffled out of line going down the back straightaway, and they were 3 wide going through 3 and 4. That was just one of those deals where the 7 got loose coming off of 4, and unfortunately he got bump drafted going into the tri-oval, and all hell broke loose.
There's Ryan Jones. He has towed it back to pit road. Other drivers that were involved there. There's Chase Barry, who triggered the incident the lap before, getting caught up in this one as well. Jeff Pogo in that Red Bull number 4 with damage as well. Luke Lafaro, who had such a good truck all race long, with damage too. It's the 23 of Thomas Ogle. Dale Eland with damage also. There's a lot of good trucks caught up in this one, as we'll...
Welcome to plate racing.
Yep, exactly right. As we'll go up overhead. Here's, we'll take a look and see what brought out caution number 3 of the night, and it looked like netcode, honestly, between the 7 and the 49. It's Matt McMeekin spinning around like a top in the middle of the racetrack. The 54 and the 1 both come piling in. That's the 16 that comes flying
he got
in.
him.
That was Brandon Ayers. Right on board with Jason Anderson. This is what he saw in the 54, or, well, thought we would. Yep, here we go. It's on the brakes hard and just could not avoid the 41.
That started with the 14. He left a lane open. He left a lane open coming off the 4. The 7 tried to go through the hole, got cut off, had a giant on the binders, and Dudley tried to take it 4 wide to avoid running the 7 flat over, and they just ran out of track. If you go to the blimp, they really have a good shot up there. Thanks, guys.
Ryan Jones on board of Ryan Jones, getting caught up in this, and once again we'll take a look from high above, and you're right, he did leave a little bit of room. 82 took a big hit, but watch the 16 of Brandon Ayers come in at the end of this. Right here at the bottom of your screen, just takes that big dive and just goes flying through the infield. As the big one strikes at Daytona, that will leave the 15 of Chandler Summers with the race lead and 9 laps to go.
And we haven't spoken a lot about Chandler tonight. Started 21st, so this would be a coup if he can pull this off.
Yeah, absolutely, and there are some guys that did not pit. Well, most of them did not pit here. Robert Dudley didn't pit. He's going to be starting 4th. Doesn't look like he has too much.
a lot of damage on the side of that truck.
Yeah, it's not a lot on the front, though, and we've seen, not just here tonight with the 7, but with the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series as well. You don't as long as your front end is clean, you can still have a solid car at these plate tracks. As we get set to go, racing yet again, and Tickle Zombie, unfortunately, I think your prediction might be a little off. Anybody else in chat want to give a crack at who's going to win this race?
The pace car.
Well, he's going to surrender the lead here, as Chandler Summers and Johnny Rapp are in the leading row. Jeff Price and Robert Dudley in the pushing row. And when we go back to green flag racing, it'll only be 8 laps to go, and about double that as many cars that are going to be running for this win. Pace car ducks on off. Green flag is in the air, and we are back to racing here to see who will win the season opener from Daytona.
Jeff Price in the 14 wastes no time getting to the back bumper of Chandler Summers, just giving him a decent shove on this restart. Summers doing the right thing, didn't get out to a huge lead to let Price have a run at him. that inside lane starting to pay dividends right now. It's
Oh,
Dudley
wrecking in the back again. I think that's the 11 of Daniel Dill.
It was.
Yep, there is Dill, and that's broken up this field. No caution. Take a look and see what happened to Dill, as that was him and Tommy Cannon that went for the ride. Incredible job by him to keep that thing going straight, as Chandler Summers right now currently leading this race as they head into the tri-oval here. 7 to go at the line.
And on that restart, you see that Dudley could not get up to speed to get to the back bumper of the 76 to give him a shove. Right now, second lane starting to perform up. That's
it's Callaway, Smith, and Rapp. The 5 of Stolter now takes the lead on that outside lane. The 76 goes for the middle. 76 trying to close it off to 16, is slow on the outside, and that should be a caution. It is.
Yeah, they were coming up on a lap truck, and unfortunately, they just ran out of room. Looked like that was the 16.
Yep,
that
was of Brandon
was
Ayers.
Off pace. Yeah, Ayers was off pace, and the 76 tried to take it 3 wide, and just ran flat out of room.
Can't really blame Ayers there.
No, absolutely not.
Because he was doing what they always tell lap cars, is to stay out of the way of the leaders and at least be predictable. And that's exactly what he was doing there.
This track's hard enough to run 3 wide at. You cannot go 4 wide at Daytona and make it stick.
No, it takes a very skilled group of guys and almost surgeon-like precision to get 4 wide here. And even then, it's almost darn near impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how about the front 4? You got the 5 of Stolter. The 15 of Summers, the 81 of Smith, and the 6 of Elin. Stolter started 32nd. Elin started 36th. So this has actually turned into a race of attrition.
It absolutely has. And Thomas Ogle just had a gap in that 23, and it just completely closed on him as the 14 came spinning back up the racetrack. As we are just about ready here, as this will be our first, I guess you could say, unofficial green-white checkered, because we'll be taking the green flag with at least 3 laps to go. Again, if you're new to the series or new to ESPN, interviewing the top 3 and then out for the night. And Scott Stolter, Chandler Summers, and Scott Tompkins right now, your top 3, with Eric Holly, I believe Jared Hagedorn, rounding out the top 5. And Scott Stolter, you were talking about starting in the 21st position and possibly winning this race for Summers. Stolter started in 32nd.
Yes, he did. And take a look who's restarting in 4th. Again, that's
it's Eric Holly.
Yeah.
Eric Holly in the 8 should be restarting 4th. And even Jared Hagedorn, he's up 29 positions right now, running in 5th.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the 6 of Elin. He went pit side.
Yep, he did.
But getting back to what you were saying again, if you're new to the ESPN family of broadcasts, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of on-track action, as we have racing every night of the week.
Yep, absolutely. Every single night of the week now with the USRA back. And again, so happy to see the USRA back. We are so close We had so much great racing at the end of well, all throughout last season, but especially towards the end of last year with the USRA Cup Series. And now to see what these guys can do in the trucks, an 18 race schedule. And already here at Daytona, this has been a wild night full of great racing. Only the fourth caution of the night. And we are going to get this thing started again with 3 to go.
Absolutely. Is Stolzer going to have the button? So as soon as the pace car clears the racing surface, he can pull the trigger. The only thing is he's got to be smart about it because he does not want to leave a huge gap back to the 26 of Scott Tompkins, as we have seen Tompkins be at the front, although that was before he had all the body work that needed to be done on that 26.
And for those of you who are watching, I would suggest picking somebody who Tickle Zombie and Sam Cooper Bennett do not take, because
Wow.
Tickle Zombie has made a zombie out of everyone that they have picked thus far over these last 20 laps.
You went there.
I'm sorry, I had to. It's low-hanging fruit. I had to take it. As we get set to go back to green flag racing here, 3 laps to go. Stolter with the button, and he will take it. Green flag back in the air here at Daytona. A green, white checkered.
Chandler Summers hanging tight with him on that second lane. It didn't look like Stoltler was able to get the restart that he needed.
Oh, wrecking in the back. That's the 51 of Randy Bechtel going around. And now we will have an official green-white checker.
Chase Berry playing a big part in that one. It looked like he tried to take it 3 wide going through 1 and 2. Got to the inside of the 9 and just turned him.
Take a look at what happened there as we go into turn 1. Boy, yeah, you're right. There's that 9. I was trying to see who that was that came sliding back up the racetrack. It was the 9 of Stephen Holmes. See, there's the 1. You're right. The 1 of Barry just kind of... He went for a gap that he didn't realize was closing, and I don't think the 9 of Holmes realized it was closing either.
Well, the 9 was in lockstep with the 69. So, you know, the 9 was looking to work with Larry Pauling in the 69 and was in lockstep with him, and just unfortunately, you know, Chase Berry, and I can't really blame him for it because we are running out of time in this race, and they just announced we're going to have 1 shot at a green-white checker.
Justin Diaz saying the missile will win it, number 26 of Tompkins. And yes, Zikta is 100% right. We still love Tickle Zombie.
Oh, absolutely.
John Honecker saying missile lock acquired. I would have to assume he's looking at Tompkins as well. I'll tell you what, we absolutely love the chat response here tonight. We absolutely love, because we have a lot of series that are sponsored by a lot of different sponsors. And I will say, and this is, we're not trying to play to Tickle Zombie here, but it is incredibly nice to see that Tickle Zombie has stuck in here and has been so active in the chat here tonight. We absolutely love when you guys watching are active in the chat. It's a whole nother thing when the series sponsors are active in the chat, and we absolutely love that. So thank you to everybody who's participated in chat here tonight. It's made this race a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's real enjoyable for us to get the feedback for, you know, the crap that comes out of our mouths, you know, to get a response from you folks. You know, we'd love to see this, you know, and we hope to see more of it in the future. You know, so
couldn't have said it any better.
We're not quite done yet. We're
No,
not
we're
quite
not.
done yet.
We have a green-white checkered left at least.
One. They get one shot at it.
Yep, so it'll be one green-white checkered. So if the race does not end under green flag here, the race will be over.
They have to get back and take the white. The leader has to actually cross the finish line, or start-finish line, with the white flag in the air. Then we will see it all the way to the checker flag. Once the green flag comes out, next flag ends it.
Shane Ward in the chat saying netcode killed him tonight. Shane Ward, the driver of the 39. And Shane, I am pronouncing your last name correctly, right? Again, this is stuff I should have probably thought to do before the race had started, like a professional broadcaster would have.
When have we ever been professional here at ESPN?
We try our best, and we also try not to say that, but, you know,
do you remember what our first name was?
Yes,
before
I do.
We became the Esports Broadcasting Network. Do you remember what the name was?
I might remember, yes. As we get set to go here for the one and only green-white checkered attempt here on the night, it'll be Scott Stolter and Chandler Summers in the leading lane, in the leading row, pardon me. Scott Tompkins and Jared Hagedorn, that's what I was looking for, running in the pushing row.
Yeah, if the last restart is any indication, Tompkins does not have enough ponies in that 26 to be able to get to the back bumper of the 5 like he's going to need to.
He's got the clean front end, but what damage has been done to that drivetrain with all of that rear end damage? As we get set to go for the green-white checkered. Green flag is in the air. Scott Stolter leads them down and away, and you're right, Tompkins not there.
That was a pucker moment as Hagedorn tried to take it 3 wide, thought better of it, and dropped back down as the 5 picks up the 15. Here comes the 2 to the inside. Stolter's going to have to make that truck about 50 feet wide if he's going to want to keep this pack of angry dogs behind him. And here comes the 00 of Evan Pienta.
Yep, Pienta there pushing Jared Hagedorn. Now Hagedorn and Pienta both in this series last year. Chandler Summers and Scott Stolter were not. So Hagedorn has a friendly pushing behind him. The 15 of Summers just barely holding on, as these are the only 4 that appear to be able to keep the lead draft, as there goes Hagedorn to the outside, and he has Pienta with him pushing.
And that started with the 26 of Tompkins not able to get up to speed, stacked everybody up behind him. Here we go, Hagedorn with the nose out front, Pienta all over his tailgate right now. Just under 2 miles to go as Hagedorn with the nose out front. 4-truck breakaway coming down the super stretch. The 5 and the 15, the old guard on the inside, and there we go.
That was a huge block by Jared Hagedorn to stall Stolter, who looks down to the inside. Stolter turns Hagedorn. Hagedorn hard into the wall. Chandler Summers is going to be the one that's clear. He is going to come off of turn number 4, and he will win the season opener. Chandler Summers with no contest. Stolter in second. Barry goes sliding across the line. He will be pipped by Evan Pienta. But Chandler Summers found himself in the right line at the right time, and he will win the season opener here at Daytona.
What a series debut for Chandler Summers in the 15. Able to hang on, able to put the truck where he needed to make sure that he didn't get caught up in the oops that happened going into 3.
Scott Stolter did everything he could possibly have done to try to get to the inside before Jared Hagedorn, and with that move, with that block, which Hagedorn needed to make, Hagedorn falls from a possible win to 16th. That is quite a fall.
Yeah, that was a big moment, and you kind of knew it was coming when the five kind of threw it to the inside. Um, I mean, you're racing back to the green, to the checkered flag. All bets are off, and I mean, you can't really fault anybody there, but um, there's definitely going to be some hurt feelings.
And we've seen it happen enough times on super speedways in real life and in the sim that these things happen at super speedways as we're getting these drivers in. And Tony, I believe you are with the race winner, Chandler Summers, right now.
Spotting.
Chandler Summers, what a way to make a debut here in the USRA TNT Truck Series, brought to you by the series sponsor,
Tickle Zombie.
excuse me, TickleZombie.com. Talk us through that last lap. How did you, or how were you able to escape sudden death?
Well, first off, I definitely double shifted into fourth on the restart, so I kind of accidentally checked it up. And then I seen them making moves, and I actually had someone yelling in my ear, "Why'd I check up?" when they started getting a little squirrely, and it ended up working out. I was able to just get by them when they started wrecking, and it was awesome.
Well, I mean, you definitely put the truck where you needed to. You didn't have the qualifying effort that you were hoping for, starting mired in the pack in 21st, but you kept the truck clean all night long. And talk us through how difficult was that in heavy traffic to not get into somebody next to you?
Yeah, my truck was definitely on edge, but that you called it. That's the goal, is just keep it clean. Here, someone here at like a plate track like this, and I was actually almost involved in one accident, barely got clear, and that's all I needed to do was keep it clean. That was my goal, and it turned out to be a win.
Well, what a win it was. Congratulations on taking your debut win here at Daytona. Um, One of the most storied tracks in all of auto racing. Um, just an excellent drive that we saw all night long. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank? Because we need to let you go celebrate with your team because you earned it tonight, my friend.
Yeah, I would like to just thank the guys on my team, Johnny Rapp, Brandon Ayers, and we actually had a couple guys in Payday Racing. One guy, Justin, was kind of spotting for the group, so thanks to him and all those guys in the chat with me. That was awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you next week, and congratulations on the victory here tonight.
Thanks.
We will now look to try to get Scott Stolter in
He's not in the
for
Discord.
an interview. Yeah, I'm noticing that now. As we will try, we'll see if we can get Stolter in for an interview.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yep. Here in just a moment. If anything, we'll jump to Evan Pienta here in just a moment. We'll give Scott a second to come in here. If not, we'll.
He's not even in the server.
Okay, so we'll go to Evan Pienta then here for this the final interview here tonight. As we now see our third place finisher here, Evan Pienta. Evan, a great race. You were able to push Hagedorn up there to the race lead, but it didn't seem like you had enough oomph to get it the rest of the way.
Yeah, I had damage. I had a little bit of damage on a restart. There was a big checkup, and I had a bunch of engine damage. So I thought I was down on power, but when I looked at everybody around me, it was just they were all even worse. So I thought I might have had a chance to just salvage the top five. And I just me and Jared working together, and I knew Jared had a clean car and I had a clean car, and I thought if I can just push him up front, we can have a chance against the top for the front row, which had clean cars. And I mean, we were working together good, and just trying to spot for each other, really throwing blocks and stuff, and just kind of tried to make a move when we had the chance. Just guess it was probably a little too early, but all in all, I think we didn't. That engine damage really probably would have. We didn't have that. Jared probably could have gone to lead. I wasn't. I was going to push Jared to the win regardless. I wasn't going to try and go for it. So I really wanted that for Jared. But overall, good day for us, and we'll go on to next week.
Before we do get to next week, these trucks looked like they were a handful, at least early in the race. It seemed to have settled down as the race went on. How were these trucks to handle in this with this draft package here tonight?
Well, I mean, we were up front at the start for just until that first pit stop, but it's you get if you're on the inside, you're getting pinned from the guys on the outside trying to side draft to get up front, and so you're really tight there, and you keep hitting the apron or just trying to get off of it. You'd rather be holding on the apron than you would rather be up high during the guy on the outside early in the race. So they were a handful getting off the corners too, going on the back stretch. I found myself going below the apron, and then going into tri-oval in the front stretch. I always kind of went below just to be safe, and trying to make sure I wasn't going to get into the guys on the outside, but that's kind of what you had to do. The guys on the outside to get up front was just side draft and stay up there. So, I mean, that's all you could really do unless you had a bunch of help behind you, which I don't think the outside line did very much in the start. So,
going into Kentucky next week, it's going to be a completely different style of racing. What are your thoughts going into the Bluegrass State next week?
Well, I mean, I'll admit I'm not the best mile and a half racer, and I think you guys saw it last year. So I got a lot of work to do on that type of racetrack. So I'll probably go in there and do some practicing, just running lines and big things, saving tires. So I mean, overall, Kentucky's probably one of my least favorite mile and a halves out of the many that they have. So, but we'll go through. I don't even know really much about it, but we'll try and get a good finish there, keep the momentum up, and stay high in the points.
Anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a third place finish tonight?
You guys for putting the broadcast on, USRA, Tickle Zombie, all those guys who help support us and help support the league and help us grow. Fanic Robotics, Automatic Handling, Ernest Brewworks, Peak, and my family.
All right, there's your third place finisher tonight, Evan Pienta. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we have now gotten to our second place finisher here tonight, Scott Stolter. And Tony, you are with him.
Scott, I know it wasn't the finish you were hoping for, but all things considered, you can't be too disappointed with a runner-up finish here at the season debut for the USRA in the Truck Series at Daytona, especially after starting way deep in the pack in 32nd starting spot. Hello, Scott.
You got it, Scott?
Let's try this again.
He's trying.
Scott?
He's trying to work something out. I just saw him go full mute, so he's trying to work it out.
Apparently, there might be something wrong with the Discord app on his phone right now.
Okay, so that might be.
All right, I think I
There
got
we
it
go.
figured out.
Yep, we got
There
it
we
now.
go.
Sorry about that.
No,
I
you're
had
good.
my
Again,
earpiece
Scott,
on.
I mean, all things considered, you can't be too disappointed with a runner-up finish here at Daytona.
Yeah, definitely not. just try different strategies throughout the race. And I wanted to hang back at times. And, I about lost the lead. Well, I did lose the lead pack on a pit stop. Pit crew did something weird on there. But, once we got that next to last caution, when I had the lead, I thought the bottom was the place to be. Just didn't work out. But I'm definitely happy with the second place finish.
Well, on the last restart, you didn't really have any help behind you because you had a damaged truck, doing what he could to try to push you. He just couldn't get to you on that restart. So talk us through what was going through your mind when you took the restart and then jumped up in front of Summers.
Yeah, so I got to throw a big thanks to my buddy Blake for spotting me tonight. We go way back, clear back, probably NASCAR inside line or one of those. Been racing ever since. And, when I lost the lead, I jumped up, obviously, because there was no help. I knew the top was the place to be once we got down into one. And then going down the back, they made the move around the outside. And then when I jumped in, settled in third, I thought that was the place to be. I was kind of happy there. And I think I did have a race-winning move going into three. And like I say, it just didn't work out. It was, I didn't even go back and look at it yet, whether it was, just a late block or a bad move on my part. I hope it was
behind you, my friend. All hell.
What's that? I'm sorry.
All hell broke loose behind you going through three. But
so jumping to the bottom, making that move to the bottom in the three, I thought that was the place to be to come around. Obviously, coming to the checker, but it just didn't work out. But that's what it is. What it is. Plate racing, and it makes it fun.
All right. Well, again, Scott, congratulations on the podium. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Thanks, Steve, for hosting this, being a part of this. I actually jumped in on a Daytona race one night. I wanted to do some plate racing and couldn't find any lobbies. Jumped in on one of their practice sessions and had a lot of fun. So thanks to everybody for hosting the league, all the time and stuff they put into it. Thanks to my buddy Blake. And, that's about it.
All right. Well, Scott, we're looking forward to seeing you next week at Kentucky, and best of luck to you then.
All right. Thanks.
So there was your second place finisher, and this is Captain Dyslexia working overtime. It's Scott Stotler was the, I think we were calling him Stolter this whole night. It's Stotler.
You were.
So, yes. Yeah, so Captain Dyslexia strikes again. So, Tony, an absolutely incredible first night of action here for the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series. A lot of fun all the way around here tonight. This is just the start of what is going to be a fantastic season.
Well, I mean, we kind of expected it to be good, close, hard racing all night long, good, close, clean racing all night long. These guys put on a clinic every time they hit the track as far as, what a league should be. And, these guys never fail to impress every time.
Absolutely. And with that, we will go to the results here for tonight's race as we finish up here tonight. Chandler Summers takes the race win. Scott Stotler comes home in second. Evan Pienta third. Chase Barry and Scott Tompkins come home in the top five. Daniel Dill, Larry Poling, Luke LaFaro, Robert Dudley, and Eric Holly round out the top 10. Mike Mraz, Tommy Cannon, Jason Ayerson, Johnny Rapp, and Jeff Price coming home in the top 15. Jared Hagedorn, Chris Smith, Stephen Holmes. Then it would be Randy Bechtel and Anthony Reynolds rounding out the top 20.
Brandon Ayers coming home in 21st. 22nd goes to Dale Elin Jr., Zach Calloway, Tommy Ogle, Jeff Pogo, rounding out your 25. Matt McMeekin, I didn't say that 5 times fast. Coming home in 26th. 27th goes to Ryan Jones. Mike Mack coming home in 28th. Ellis Thomas in 29th. 30th going to Jordan Smith. Justin Winters in 31st. Eddie Spurl in 32nd. 33rd goes to Shane Ward. Jason Young in 34th. 35th goes to Nick Lamb. Wes Whitfield in 36th. And Dustin Lamb rounding out the field in 37th.
And so that will do it for us here tonight on ESPN. Coming up over the next 4 days, 4 races over the next 4 days. The Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series will be at Talladega in the ARCA cars for the first of their round of 8 in the playoffs. Only 4 more races to go in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series, and this one will be at Talladega tomorrow night. On Saturday afternoon, it'll be the E-Formula 3.5 Series from Phillip Island, a 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time start for that. On Sunday will be the Medieval Racing League from Texas Motor Speedway at 7:50. And then coming up on Monday will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Sonoma at the midway point of their season. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight, and we will see you all next week from Kentucky Speedway and tomorrow from Talladega for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. Good night, everybody.